6 right now. It looks to me, I see members Hoover, Sneeden, Clark, Bean, yourself, and Zimmer. Oh, more folks joining. I think we need one more. And I believe that we did have sufficient RSVPs to make sure that we would have enough.
Well, I have straight up 10, but I don't know if we need one more, you say?
Well, we typically have 12 members, so we usually need 7, but I was just reminded that we currently only have 11. So technically 6 would put us over that quorum number. We will make a note if anyone else joins, but I think that we do have the quorum necessary.
Okay, if everyone agrees with that, I'll proceed then, I think. I'd like to call to order the September 11th, 2025 meeting of the Kansas Post-Secondary Technical Education Authority. This is a regularly scheduled conference call meeting being held via Zoom. Please ensure your microphones are muted. TEA members, board staff, or institutional staff who wish to speak should request to be recognized. Once recognized, please state your name and title before speaking, so listeners and observers can clearly identify you. Everyone else should remain muted while another speaker has the floor. With that, I'd like to call on Elaine Frisbee, Vice President of Finance and Administration, to present the FY26 appropriation for Excel and CTE. Elaine?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking a bit of time out of your day to talk about an important funding stream for our colleges. So I thought I'd give just a little background, a little refresher. The institution submitted their AY 2025 data, enrollment data this summer. It worked with us over the summer, July, August, early into September. And the presidents filed their certifications with us last Friday. So this is very new data that's just been submitted to us. So since Friday, board staff have been generating a lot of reports out of that information, but one of the first things they do alongside federal reporting is to calculate the state aid due to the colleges for Excel and CTE. So this is for courses that they delivered in AY 2025. And there is a timeline on page 3 of your agenda materials that kind of outlines our timeline for when we must distribute the state aid. There's also a table back on page 10 for your information that gives you a few years of student headcount participation in Excel and CTE. And from that, you can see that we're generating quite a bit of growth for student headcount. So student headcount grew 8.6% in AY 2025 over AY 24. And it isn't shown for you, but student credit hours actually increased 9.7% in 25 over 24. So you can also see the trajectory back since 2020, the first year of COVID. So we're seeing some promising results and it's a very successful program. But then, of course, that means the state aid calculations, which are done at the course level, are showing some increased state aid costs. And I just want to remind everyone, I'm sure you all remember, that it isn't just that student enrollment increases, but if students enroll in courses that are in bucketed and higher tiers, then the state aid expense increases even more than just the overall enrollment increase. So for fiscal year 2025, the expenses we're here today to talk about, that is a 13% increase over FY 2024. So all that to say, our funding that we have available for the state aid for Excel and CTE, which I'm focusing on today, is not enough to cover the expenses that have been calculated. So we have $47,500,000, and that's not quite enough. So on page 4 of your agenda materials, is a table that shows for you the college's calculated state aid alongside the prorated amounts that would shrink everybody down by 11.5% to fit within the amount available for the program. We did the same calculation on page 5 for Accelerating Opportunity Kansas, AOK, which is paid for from within the same Excel and CTE appropriation. In the materials on pages 6, 7, 8, and 9 is information about the data that the institution submitted to us for the GED Accelerator and for the newer benefit for students. This would have benefited students to help with their course costs. The more recent program that was created by the 23 legislature, but we do not have any funding stream to cover either of those two. Those are just there for your information. So I'm happy to stand for questions. We are looking for a motion to approve the payments so that then the Board of Regents can take up this item at their meeting next week, and then the aid can be distributed in early October. So happy to stand for questions on any of this.
Hey, Lane, this is Mike.
Mhm.
I'm going to think out loud, so Dave can't hit me right now. So I remember a previous meeting, there was some excess dollars in the Business and Industry Apprenticeship Fund. And I don't know, the specific legislation around that, but is there ability to move those excess dollars over to Excel and CTE and maybe shrink that gap with Excel and CTE?
Yes. So authority members, you'll recall at the last meeting, I gave an update for you on the 19 community colleges. For 2 of the appropriations, there was an additional proviso attached to them that required the community colleges to have less than 6 months or less cash on hand as of June 30, 2025. And everybody certified their amounts. But one college, Johnson County Community College, did not, they were deemed ineligible for their state aid because they had excess cash on hand, excess being over 6 months. So what that would mean then is I think the 2 programs combined for Johnson County total just under 5.2 million. So what will happen, the 19 community colleges, as they always do, will submit their financial audits for FY 2025 to us this fall, winter, early spring maybe. And then we will go back and re-verify everybody's eligibility. But for the first 18 colleges, they've received that state aid. This was the Business and Apprenticeship state aid and the Student Success state aid. The 5.2 million that would have gone to Johnson County sits in those 2 accounts, and it will lapse next June 30 if we do not spend it. If it is determined that Johnson County, once we get their audit, in fact, is not eligible for that state aid, it would just lapse. Now, another provision in the appropriation bill does allow Blake Flanders, in his role as president CEO, to transfer money among SGF accounts. What we would not want to do that though until we actually have the financial audits from the colleges. But what could happen is that 5.2 million could be moved to the Excel and CTE account at that time and then make up a good chunk of the shortfall, not quite all of it, but a good piece of it. And then the colleges could be almost made whole, not quite. I hope that all made sense.
It did. So what I hear you saying is it's possible.
It is possible.
And then I don't know, I guess the caveat would be pending the final audit, I guess, of all of that.
Yes.
Well, Dave, I'd be comfortable making that motion since it's allowable to lean into the Business and Industry Apprenticeship and Student Success money to offset the cost. It's not going to cover all the cost of the Excel and CTE pending the final audit. That'd be my recommendation. I don't know if it's a motion, but.
Well, I think we, in the meeting you're speaking about, we asked Elaine to look into that, and apparently she has. And we just hate to see that almost $6 million go unused. And so I like the motion. Anybody else want to weigh in on that?
Well, David, this is Curtis, and I do too. It seems potentially the motion would be that we adopt the recommendation before us, contingent upon that subsequent analysis post-audit to see if those monies can be shifted over to make up the shortfall. That sound right, Mike?
That was my, I guess, question and then ask or recommendation.
So the motion.
April, you might want to
Oh.
jump in, but I think we need to prove what Elaine presented today, but so maybe there needs to be two separate motions.
Just a quick question on the actual motion at hand, which is the distribution of the funds. So we're recommending an equal percent reduction to everybody based on the shortfall. Yeah, is that the recommendation?
Yes.
And then any additional funds that we are potentially able to move would then be given back at that same prorated value. This is a comment, not for today because we are where we are. But as we've been talking about looking at this program and looking at, what happens when we don't have enough money in the future, which clearly we already don't. We were looking at, how we would relook at this, right? And so I firmly believe we need a plan that doesn't give an equal distribution reduction, because I don't think that's effectively using the program the way it should be used. And so I just wanted to put that on record to say that as we look at, and we had that action from our last meeting to go look at this for future, I think we need to keep that in mind on how we're distributing and which programs and how that is shortfall may be looked at in the future. That's all.
I agree with your comments, Cindy.
And this is Vice President White. I want to ask Vice President, first, do you need 2 votes? I think that's kind of the question right now.
The TEA's preference, we can do it as one, and you give us the guidance to go down the trail of verifying eligibility for that state aid. And if it's determined that Johnson County, in fact, is not eligible, then make that transfer happen, which we have the statutory authority to do. And the most immediate thing then, of course, is to get the aid that we do have. And absent guidance from the TEA and the Board of Regents, we did not try to do anything else other than what we've been doing, which is the standard proration. So if you want to make one motion, we can do with that.
Well, Mike, if you consider your motion to have been that motion, terrific. If not, I'll make the kind of dual motion, or I'll second yours if that's what you meant.
Well, I could make a friendly add-on to approve the distribution pending the movement of funds from the business and industry apprenticeship and student success accounts to Excel and CTE, and to make Elaine feel better, pending the audit also.
Okay, so my second stands for all of that.
Motion by Mike and seconded by Curtis. Any discussion? I think we do roll call vote. We're on Zoom. So if someone would do the roll call. Does someone have a list?
That should be Jennifer, but I'll go ahead and do it. The motion was made by Member Bean and seconded by Sneeden. So, Rice?
Yes.
Hoover?
Approved.
Clark?
Yes.
Zimmer?
Approve.
McCulca,
Yes.
Humphrey. I don't think I missed any other members, so that motion would carry.
Dave, I may have messed up. I didn't.
Thank you.
That's the only motion we needed, right? Just kind of okay.
Yep.
Overthinking it.
Thank you. Thank you, Elaine.
Thank you.
That's all on our agenda today. Is there any other business, April, or thing we need to take care of?
There is not, just a reminder about the next meeting, and I wanted to let everyone know that the agenda, there is an error. The October meeting is in person, not being held virtual.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. So Thursday, October 23rd, 10 o'clock in Topeka. With no other first or business today, I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.